Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? So, hey, I just saw an interview with Barry Sternlight on CNBC that I think we need to talk about. This is something we really need to think about, especially if we are looking at the move from urban areas to suburbia as an investable trend. What Barry had to say in this interview, again on CNBC, I'll do my best because this is live to go back and make the link to the video. I'll try to do that for you. But in essence, you can just go to CNBC.com, look up Barry Sternlight, just like it sounds, Sternlight. But basically his point is, and again, who is he? He's the founder of Starwood Capital, a business that is based on real estate. So again, he's in the business of real estate investing, real estate transactions. So his opinion, it counts, right? And again, his experience is East Coast, is New York, is Florida. So his opinion certainly has a bias, but let's talk about it. And I think this is important. There's been a lot of chatter recently about, hey, this suburban flight is short term. It's COVID related. The cities will be back once a vaccine or treatment or it mutates or whatever. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're all guessing, right? We're guessing with parts of the information. What Barry is highlighting is that's not what he is seeing. In his business and of his opinion, it's the rise in crime, kind of street level crime. It is safety for families, and it is higher taxes in these big cities. He goes on the tax one to get really into the detail and says, if taxes go the way they're proposing in New York, that many of their citizens will be paying over 60% in total income tax, which is an astronomical number. I thought California was high at 53%. Can you imagine paying over 60% in taxes? No wonder you would leave. I mean, man, talk about an immediate improvement to the bottom line. But here's the deal. If the move out of suburbia is because of the health event, then yeah, it could be short term. Broadway's back next year, your favorite restaurant's back, or like version, you're coming back. But if you're afraid of rising crime, lack of services because of no tax revenue, you're afraid to walk in the street, you're seeing needles and homeless and tents everywhere. You're afraid of your taxes going above 60%. This will not be a short-term thing. So one of the things we need to evaluate is, wherever you are in the country, what is going on with your big city? Because I'm sure there are some big cities where the move out is short-term, right? People are afraid, they come back. But if you're in a city that has rising crime, some destruction, boarded up windows and whatnot, you can't let your kids play on the street anymore because you're afraid they're going to get roughed up somehow. You can't go for a run because you're afraid of stepping on different needles or whatnot. I think this might be a real trend. And I think if it is the latter and it's a real trend and it's investable, it just means the urban area is about to get a lot cheaper. You're about to see rents fall in New York and Manhattan. You're going to see rents fall in San Francisco. You're going to see home values fall in San Francisco, in LA, in Seattle, in New York. So if you've been waiting to buy a home in one of these areas, get ready. It's about to be cheaper. I would tell you there's a reason it's about to be cheaper. You're going to have to deal with homelessness and lack of services and all of those things if Barry's opinion is right. Again, Barry is talking about people. He resides in New York and Miami, Florida. He's talking about hundreds of thousands of people leaving and not coming back. You just got to ask yourself, is that my market? And if it is, it's time to get ahead of it. For example, for me in Fresno, right? Fresno, California, where I've been for 20 years. I live in the Bay Area, like New York, ridiculously expensive. Fresno, I think it's a great real estate market. I thought it was great in January. I think Fresno, for me, is a tremendous market for the next 2 to 4 years. What we are seeing, what we just saw JP Morgan do today, we talked about it on our daily financial news earlier, about 2 hours ago. JP Morgan is bringing back people intermittently, right? 2 days a week, 1 day, 1 week a month. And it's going to recycle. So their office space will likely shrink. But that means you have to be close enough where you could commute in. So I love Fresno as a part being close to the Bay Area, right? If you had to come to the Bay Area, I don't know, 4 times a month, would you be willing to do that drive? Absolutely. For what you can get a 4,000 square foot lakefront home built in the last 5 years for less than a condo in Mountain View. There are going to be lots of Silicon Valley money going to Fresno, in my opinion, buying $1 million homes for what it would be 10, 15, $20 million here if you could find it. I like my market. I think the Bay Area is a lot like New York, especially San Francisco. I think San Francisco is about to see a rise in crime. I think San Francisco is about to see a loss of services. I think San Francisco is about to see a lot of taxes go up. I think San Francisco is about to see the wealthy leave because they have options. If that happens, where do people go? I think one of the options is the Central Valley. So that's how I am looking at it. I would ask you to look at your market, see what makes sense for you. But again, take a look at his article. Let me know what you think. Barry Sternlight, Starwood Capital founder. He's the first person to come out that I have found that says, you know what, this talk about urban flight being short term is wrong. I think that warrants a discussion. What do you think? What city are you in? What big city is near you? What is going on? Because again, if it's a short-term thing, people leave New York and they're back to New York by March of next year. Did anything change? Not really. Broadway's back. Restaurants back. But if we go on a 5 to 10 year negative trend, crime up, taxes up, services down, you might want to get out of New York earlier because there will be a time to buy in New York, but maybe that's 2030, 2028, 2026. I don't know. But sometimes it's good to get out. One of the things that I just thought of, I wrote about in our book, One Rental at a Time, is in 2006, I changed my opinion. I had built my career up to that point on single family homes. And because I looked every day, I realized that houses were stupidly priced. So we got out of houses. We went into apartments. This could be something similar, right? If you're in the urban area and you're like, you know what? I think my big city's in trouble. Let me get out ahead of it. Let me get out early. But where do you go? So think about where you can go within an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Easy drive. We're not talking 1-lane roads and mountains and that stuff like that. But this is investable, folks. We just saw new home sales today. We talked about in the daily financial news. If not, check it out, August 25th. Pending or existing homes last week were a monster. This stuff's investable. Just ask yourself some questions and see what's going on. All right, everybody, take care. That was a great job by Barry. What's his name again? Sternlight, CNBC. Take care.